Welcome to Boston! Had to do it. The 2014 Money in the Bank review. You're here watching me, so I'm going to give you my idea on how this show was. And honestly, it wasn't good. No matter what things are in this show, the outcome is something I'm sure many people are going to be very annoyed with. So let's get through most of this show. Let's go with the kickoff. Now, hearing that Daniel Bryan was going to be on the kickoff show, not in the main show, did upset me a little bit. But it's understandable. They just don't want to give him the time. They're going by character, they're going by storyline, and they're not going to give him storyline time. On the main show, nah. So putting him on here is what they would do, in which they did. He spoke well. It's sad to hear that he has to possibly have a second surgery. My guess is, and this is my idea of this, the injury he has is a little more severe than what anyone thought it was. Particularly, he said he still hasn't gotten strength in his arm. I think it's his left arm. So my guess is he may be back by the end of the year or the beginning of next year. So if anybody's thinking, oh, he's coming back, he probably won't come back until the end of the year or next year, ladies and gentlemen. So just accept it. The guy that made the WWE more interesting is gone now. The most he can do is just little bits like Stone Cold Steve Austin did when he was severely injured and just could not perform in the ring. What did he do? He worked in the back. Now the question is, will he be allowed to work in the back? Or he just can't do it because the injury is that severe? That is going to be the question that a lot of people are going to ask. Only thing I can say in this segment was that it was to the point. Bo Dallas coming out saying, well, don't worry, Daniel, you'll come back. All you have to do is Bo leave. Do you believe that was the best time to do that? Most people are going to say no. This was about Daniel Bryan. Why throw Bo Dallas into it to get him a little bit of a rub? Well, that's the point. Bo Dallas is on a winning streak. That's what we all hope for because he's won against very large people. Hey, he won against Titus O'Neil. That's not an easy feat. So him getting a little rub from Daniel Bryan at this point is a wise thing to do. If they let him job eventually and job soon, it would have been for nothing. But I thought it was alright to do that. Now the opening of the show. Usos versus the Wyatts. Well, Eric and Luke Harper. Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, hearing, you got the hope! Oh, come on! Hearing that woman, if it was a woman or a kid, hearing them, you got the whole world in your hands in the beginning was wrong. What they would have been better is to take that entire bit out and use that music they had come up with them. And then see if it will work if you need to put that back in. By doing that, really, I didn't give a damn again. The first one was terrible with the accordion, and this was no better. It was slightly better. Let's be honest here. The match was good, but this felt like an average Raw match. I'm sorry. And I love the Usos. You know I love my boys. I love Jimmy and Jey Uso. But let's be honest here. In this situation right now with the Usos, and they deserve the titles, they deserve their time. But this felt like an ordinary Raw match. It did. They have done this so many times with the Wyatts that it seems ordinary. At least to me. And that's the problem. If they allowed them to only have matches sporadically, very sporadic, let the Usos try to get over and talking, see what will happen. And rarely go up against people. Then this would have been really a great match. And it wasn't a bad one. But it didn't have the mystique of it. It didn't have something epic about it. It was an average Raw match. And I felt that was sad because they had them paired up so long. The Usos should never have been paired with the Wyatts so many times. Usos won, but I just felt like it was average. And that upsets me. Now, the next thing, I could leave this for the end, but I have to do it now. Naomi versus Paige for the Divas Championship title. I don't understand what were they thinking here. You have Paige. She's 21 years old. She's one of the youngest divas they've ever had. And it's alright and fine, but the problem is that they're not willing to put her in any storylines. She's never really had a very good feud. She's never had a very good build. And as a good a wrestler as she is, and she is a very good wrestler, because this match was one of the best matches of the night. If you think the ladder matches were good, you need to reevaluate this particular match. I believe this is one of the best of the night. It was very technical, it was very high flying, and I'm not saying this because I am in love with Naomi, because I am. But the point is that when you look at the ring work, it was actually very, very good. But in the end, why not let Naomi have the title? When you look at Paige, she's not doing anything. You would think the WWE would come 2 and 2 and get 4, like, oh, Naomi is charismatic, people like her, she's beautiful, she's intelligent, the kids like her, well, she's on Total Divas, let her have the title. No. They let Paige continue keeping the title, and then they still tease this little conflict between her and Cameron. The best that could have came out of this is Naomi getting the title, and then they go on from that, dealing with her and Cameron, and eventually having a feud between each other. Yes, Paige can get the title back after that, because Cameron would have screwed Naomi. But it would have made more sense as a feud and a storyline-wise, combining Total Divas into it instead of this. If they actually let Paige have a second match with Naomi, Naomi gets screwed by Cameron then, or gets the title, that would be the most stupidest thing you could think of. Because they may actually do it. This is Monday afternoon, it ain't Raw yet. So Naomi may get another shot, or Cameron may get a shot, and the next thing you know, Naomi and Cameron will have a feud. Instead of starting it there on a pay-per-view where people may get interested, they let Cameron have an attitude and then act all lovey-dovey back to Naomi. It was stupid. And that's the reason why I had to do it now. And Naomi should have won that. She looked much better. Next, Sandow Revere versus... I don't understand why they still have Damien Sandow doing this. He's a very charismatic character. He is doing the best what he can with these random... doing these random parodies of people is okay. But he's a much better heel when he's serious. Seeing this is not enough. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Adam Rose wins. And he pulled off a little bit of a Naomi, wiggling his ass on a Damien Sandow's head. What the fuck? Only Naomi can pull that shit off. Only Naomi can do that. Naomi can rub her ass on only me. I'm just kidding. You get my point. But it's good to see Adam Rose still being pushed, but Damien Sandow deserves better. I'm just saying. Now, the classic Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm alright with the... Well, the thing is, they always make the most prominent people have the interview. I would have liked a little different, you know. I would have just like a Cesaro have his... this frustrates me. You could have had Cesaro and Dean Ambrose and left it at that. The two people that people might think could get the contract. But the first person is Seth Rollins. And I really believe that was a stupid thing to do. It really gave off a hint that Seth is the one they're going for. And throughout this entire match, which wasn't a bad one, it was good, you didn't feel like Seth wouldn't win. And admittedly, I didn't think Dean wouldn't win. So the way they structured Dean was great. But having Kane come out helping Seth Rollins at the end, this is the reason why I'm tired of Kane. They've overused him. And they structured him so terribly. I don't believe he's a credible heel anymore. He's just a damn tool. No matter if he wins or loses, he's a fucking tool. And that's sad to see that from such an illustrious career in the very beginning, dealing with The Undertaker. Breathe. Next, let's move on to Rusev versus Biggie Langston. My question is, what now? What do you do now? Biggie Langston has been beaten twice by Rusev. Rusev has destroyed and dominated. So what now? I don't know. I did consider a Sheamus being the next person for him to deal with. You could say a Kofi Kingston, but I would like him to go after the US title. That would be ironic and iconic that the monstrous Vladimir Putin, hero of Russia, Rusev Furial, Rusev Haskala, if I'm even saying it right, he goes after the US title at the next pay-per-view, which is Battleground, and he wins it from Sheamus, would actually make his character a lot more destructive. You got a guy who is from the Soviet Union, the Bulgarian brute, gets the US title and spits, as Carlito says, I spit in the face of those who don't want to be cool. Would be perfect for his character. Let him go after Sheamus. It would work. But do I believe that's going to happen? No. But maybe they may actually consider it by the end of the year. Now, I said the name. I believe I'm the first person to say it on YouTube. I could be wrong. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm the first one to call the Rhodes Brothers the Dust Brothers. But as far as I know, putting it in my title and stating it, I might be the first. JBL said it at the end of the match. The Dust Brothers is getting over. The Dust Brothers are here. That makes me feel so damn good. Alright. Stardust versus Gold. I'm about to say. You see I'm botching because it was epic. Goldust and Stardust versus the Rybactals. There's one problem here. You have one interview that shows Cody singing If You Wish Upon a Star. I would have liked an interview before the match to get Cody even more over, but they didn't do that. They didn't bother to do that. Maybe they'll do it this Raw. But they should have did it on the pay-per-view. It would have made more sense. Instead of showing that little clips of all about Money in the Bank, money, 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 that you could have took that out and gave more time for interviews to try and get talent over. In the end, Cody gets over on Ryback. I don't have a problem with that. They're really trying to push the Dust Brothers. And if Cody really gets into this character, if they show it, he could still get over, even though I'd like to see him as a singles competitor going against his brother. He could get over. So, Layla versus Summer Rae with Fandango as the guest referee. Two very gorgeous looking women in a triangle with a man who likes to gyrate himself like an Elvis Presley. A watered down Elvis. For anyone who's an Elvis fan, it's a watered down version of Elvis. We know it. Just deal with it. In the end, we got a decent match, which can still be built. Now, if Layla is actually appearing in Total Divas at certain times, and I think September is coming out, it would actually make sense why they're doing this. Summer gets dumped, Layla goes over. Layla, if she's not involved in it, in Total Divas, is seen periodically through it, will actually go with storyline, which will actually make sense. I'm not bored with this feud. I hope they continue doing this, and then eventually both girls realize, damn, why are we fighting one another? Let's just both have him. Let's do a threesome, baby. Then I'll really hate him. But you get my point. Something that will give us more interest. Look, the WWE is rated PG-13. Or rated PG or whatever. Or G. Whatever you want to call it. Seeing them be more sexual. It's something we don't always see. The best sexual thing is, let's be honest, Lita and Edge in the bed in the ring was one of the best things people ever thought of. That was great. This won't come close to it. But it is something that will make the 18 to 35 demographic be interesting. Oh, damn. Fandango got some asses, man. He got one of the nicest looking women in Layla. He's got one of the longest legged women in Summer Rae. Show us a threesome and keep it up. That may interest us. Now, finally, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship ladder match. I had to leave this last because there's no point in doing it in the beginning. This was what many people would say the most worst thing they could have done. Look, we knew that Roman Reigns was not going to get the title. We knew that Cesaro wasn't even close to getting to title, even though he did grab onto them technically, and he was holding on to him for a while, but he couldn't pull them down. The thing that gets me is this. The WWE realizes that now that Daniel Bryan's hurt, instead of trying to bring up another talent that could really be built, that could help the business, they decided to go with John Cena. As they always do, because they don't believe that anyone is good enough to be in the main title scene with John Cena, Randy Orton, Sheamus. And it's sad to see this. Roman Reigns would have been the best ideal person, even though you could think that if that's done, it may be the same as Sheamus, who had a brief title reign and it killed him. But I want to say this. I'll have no problem with John Cena having the title if he allowed people to get over. Seth Rollins now has the Money in the Bank briefcase. So that means Seth Rollins, who has never been built properly, who they have no idea to do with at all, kind of like a Rusev in a sense. Rusev, if they don't let him go after Sheamus, it's just going to wander. Seth Rollins is now going to be sacrificed to John Cena. Just like Bray Wyatt was sacrificed. Just like Ryback was sacrificed. So in a sense, seeing John Cena get the title does not make me care at all. He's going to deal with Seth Rollins, who is not a strongly built character. Not one damn bit is he strongly built. So that makes this entire pay-per-view crap. No matter how much I love the Layla segment, how I wish Naomi had been treated better. The Usos, I love them too, but when you see this show, it's just the status quo is kept so tightly wrapped that the WWE has not learned to loosen up. In the end, this wasn't a great pay-per-view. As much as there were great spots, great high-flying, great technical wrestling, does not mean it's a great show. So I hope you enjoyed this review of Money in the Bank 2014. Please give me a comment below. Give me a thumbs up, please, so I can be seen a couple of times. And if you think I'm saying this too much, just tell me, dude, stop saying the thumbs up. Because I don't want to say stuff that's stupid and not necessary. You guys like me, you're watching me. I'm just thankful to be even seen. Peace!